Good morning and welcome to part two. If you didn't catch it last time, check out the video before this. But we are working on a laptop that needs to be completely rebuilt from scratch. So, practically, I finally ordered everything. It just arrived today. So we are going to be finishing up this build. Got not one, but two of these boxes filled with goodies. And yeah, let's just get started. All right, so this is where we left off last time. We have the base here, and then we have the top. And the base here needs to be replaced because of this little thing that came off. Just because of that, this whole thing needs to be replaced. And that means all of this needs to be transferred over to somewhere else. Other thing, the main reason why this came is because this was completely broken off of the back of the LED case or the display assembly here. And as you can see, the hinge is supposed to be very firm on the laptop case, but it broke off completely because again, you have metal being conjoined with plastic by screws, small little screws. I think there's one right here that I can show you. Yep. So this little screw is the only thing responsible for keeping this attached to the back of that, and the screw has the back piece broken off because it was the part that screws in is glued to the plastic part of the display assembly. So we have a whole new bottom that we need to transfer all the components over, and we have a brand new full assembly at the top here. So hopefully I don't have to reassemble everything here, and that saves me a lot of time. To keep things in budget, we went out ahead with a used display assembly and a brand new carcass. So let's do the heavy lifting first, which is the bottom, and then we'll do the top where we can assemble everything together. So let's get to work. Sourcing these parts were not easy, but I kept the client's budget in mind, and I was able to find everything I needed. This is the brand new carcass, and essentially this part here is what broke off. And essentially when any of these things break off of the plastic, even if you super glue it, even if you use epoxy, even if you use Gorilla Glue, it does not work the same way again. And so I do not recommend putting glue or epoxy on these things. It does wear down. So we're gonna replace the whole thing. And we gotta transfer, we basically gotta make this guy look like that guy. And yeah, switch everything over. Okay, I guess I really got to do it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be disassembling this whole thing, and I need more space, so I'm going to clear that part out, and I'm going to basically put this stuff over there and then get it from over there and put it onto the new one. Just watch, you'll see what I mean. But can't forget my handy dandy espresso. And I'm sorry for the weird angle here, but this is the only place I could find where I could clean up and get to work. So I already had removed the battery connection, which is good. Let's take this out because it's annoying me. And I just realized I don't have the electrical screwdriver, so this is not going to be fun. So for those that don't know, an electric screwdriver just basically twists left and right for you, so I don't have to manually do it with my hand, as you see there, for every single screw. And laptops are notorious for having a lot of screws. Luckily though, this laptop wasn't too bad, so I didn't miss it too much. Just realized I also got to transfer the trackpad. So I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's also a little bit elevated. So I'd recommend replacing this battery. But one thing at a time. Swollen batteries doesn't mean immediate replacement. It just indicates a problem that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. And you can absolutely still use it as long as it doesn't increase in size. If it gets too swollen, it could actually be very dangerous. What I want to leave for last, not last, let's see how far I can go until I have to put the speakers in place. But I think I want to put the speakers in place or do the transplant directly, because I don't think it's hindering anything else from happening. And the way that this cable is routed through is very specific. So I want to make sure I get the exact way that it was on there before. So let's see if it makes sense moving it now or later. The problem isn't that you take it out and put it back and it looks weird. The problem is if you put it where it's not supposed to, and then you can't close the case anymore. It's like a little maze. If I go down, I'll end up in a dead end. So only this part right here is tricky. Now what you normally can do is you just take a picture of this and you just make sure that it matches the before and after. Oh, and finding these parts for this computer was not easy. Now I know I've said that a couple times, but that's because none of the parts that I found were something that I could cross-reference easily. There were missing stickers, there were missing part numbers, and I had to do a lot of guesswork. So thankfully, the parts that came in were the correct ones. They didn't need to be sent back, and I didn't have to constantly be ordering and sending back parts that were not compatible. But I've been doing this for a long time. And then perfectly on that. Boom. First thing transferred over. Like it should, like a glove. Now, what are we taking off next? Touchpad, you stay in place. Not ready for you yet. So there's no manual or rules that you have to follow to essentially do the repair. You just have to do it in a way that it makes sense. All right, so next to come out is this guy. A good rule of thumb is that you want to put things back in the same order that you took things off. And so next I'm taking out the hard drive. And this is a hard drive, a mini hard drive. All the person's data is in here. 512 gigs, very good hard drive. Now we have this little guy here, which we're also gonna have to transfer over. This small board on the side is what we call a peripheral board or a daughter board, because it is smaller than the motherboard that it connects to, and it serves a different purpose than the motherboard. Let's work from left to right, shall we? Let's see if this fan can be removed separately, or if it's part of the same assembly. So this is next. On rare occasions, the fan is connected to the heat sink. Yep, came right off. Got a good laptop fan here. Let's not kick that around. Cool. And this is the cooling unit right here, the CPU cooler that goes through here. This is the RAM, which we don't need to touch because it'll just be transferred over. But this guy here, this is gonna need to be transferred over. That's gonna come with the motherboard. Good. And let's see if I can take off this motherboard without having to take off the cooling unit. So let's take off the other fan. This fan has a connector right here. This fan came off pretty easily. I mean, this one should be easy too. Yep. And voila. Second fan off. Okay. And now, anywhere I see screws that have these orange outlines in them, like these orange outlines, that usually means it's a board screw that is responsible for not only holding the board down but also providing the ground on the board when necessary. So missing these screws are not good. They all need to come back. So we got that one in that corner, and we got these two up top. This is also true for PCs. You want to make sure all motherboard screws go in to the right place. Don't strip on me now. Here we go. Sometimes you just need to add pressure. So this is lifting. This is lifting. Is it all lifting? Here we go. Motherboard completely lifted off. The old one, nothing fancy going on the other side. So it's safely on top of some bubble wrap. And then, is there anything else that needs to be transferred? Yeah. Finally, the touchpad. So the touchpad has these four screws underneath. That's it. Let's get her done. And because this is a full teardown, I didn't mind leaving the touchpad at the end. But if I had to do a touchpad repair, I would probably try to remove this as soon as I remove the battery. Now I'm gonna try to take it all as one. Yep. Pull these guys back. And there we go. So now this one with the broken piece is gone. Now we can use it, the new one. Espresso time. So now what essentially I have to do is do exactly that, but in reverse. So I have all the pieces laid out. Just have to put it all back. And then I can work on the top half. All right, back to work. Let's start with this guy. So it's like I said, if you are doing all the steps in reverse, you're basically repairing the device in the most efficient way possible. Now 4 screws back in. So now that that's in, let's put in the major player here. This can go down, this can go down. Boom. We have the speakers, we have this guy, blue. So let's put motherboard. Whenever you are working on a motherboard, just make sure that you prop it or leave it in a safe area. And when you are putting it back, make sure that it goes in the proper way. That would do it. See what happened there? Like, why isn't it going down? Now we know. That's in place. That's in place. The charger's now in place. So far, so good. Always take your time to make sure that there's no obstructions on the motherboard before you're screwing it in. 2, And then here's that third one. Do y'all remember where this third one was? Y'all paying attention? No? Well, it's over here. Let's plug stuff in. We can plug in the speakers. One little trick I use is to always follow the cable orientation. Speakers, keyboard. That's important. The shape of the cable is basically fixed, so it gives you a hint of where it's supposed to go. Keyboard is now in place. Boom. Keyboard backlighting, which is equally as important because you want to see what you're typing. You know, if your laptop has that option, you definitely want it. That's good. This is trackpad. Trackpad is in place. Now, fan right. Let's plug, put her in first. Boom. Then plug it in. Now, does this screw belong to the left or the right of the fan? Do you know? Me neither. So it doesn't really matter. Because they're the exact same screw. Trick question. As long as it's the same screw size, doesn't matter where it goes. Now the other fan. Huge fan of whatever this is. And now we have, which side is it? Doesn't matter exactly. So this is the right one. This is the left one. This is also important. This is what we call a daughter board or a peripheral board. And this small board is just in charge of peripherals like USB or charging units. So let's do this connection, and this cable here is what connects the daughter board to the motherboard. Usually done by a small ribbon cable. Like joining a happy family here. On older PCs, you also had different kinds of hard drive. You had like a master hard drive and a slave hard drive. And those terms went away. There we go. Just needed the proper angle. Then we can set that down. And now that's connected. Let's put your memory back, or your storage back, because technically this is storage, that's memory. They do not mean the same thing, unfortunately. So you have your hard drive and you have your RAM. Your hard drive is responsible for your system and your documents. And RAM is responsible to give space for the processor to work, to open up applications and get multiple things done. Yeah, that's the way. I was overthinking it. My fault, guys. That should have been super easy. But as you can see, this is how it is. This is like actual real life. Next, I want to put this guy here before I forget. And we have this screw that goes where? That's right, doesn't matter. Sorry, I don't have a lot of jokes. So when I find one, I like to overuse it until it's dead. Don't worry, I will stick to being a technician and not a comedian, I promise. And then this guy, finally, which just sits here. And now we have a reassembled laptop. Let's go. All right. After that little short break that I just took that you guys don't know, let's look at the display assembly. That's this guy here. This is all the old stuff. We save that for later. And this should be the brand new assembly that came in. And before I show you that, I took the entire display apart because this guy here did not have the right part sticker on top of this one to be able to identify the correct assembly to purchase this. So I literally had to take it all apart to cross-reference all of them to be able to find what I hope to be the correct display assembly. But this is just after I cross-referenced all those parts. And it comes in this anti-static sheet. Technically, it's an anti-static wrap, but like I said, I was trying to reference these part numbers, and right now I'm opening something that I don't know if it's the right one. I could use a razor, make my life simpler, but that would be too easy. And here she is, brand new. Well, it looks brand new, but it's pulled off of a used unit. And how I was able to identify this was simply by the groove inside of this hinge here. If you're ever in a situation like I was here, the best thing that you can do is try to find identifying marks on the part that you're looking at. Whether it's a groove or the amount of pins something has, everything has to be taken into consideration if you don't have an exact part number that you can reference. The other models don't have that groove, but it's the same color, same scheme, G3. So hopefully this is the one. So in order for me to do this, it should be easy. Should be. But let's see how easy it is gonna be. First, I need to bring this up, but I'm bringing up the hinges like so. I'm pretty sure these go underneath, but we'll find out in a second. And this is gonna come up this way. This is gonna come up this way. And let's see how they're gonna match. Now that I have them standing, I'm gonna essentially be joining these two guys together as best I can. Here's good. Here is wonderful. Just gotta make sure I have enough clearance. And these guys in the bottom have more of a guidance than the one on top does. Now they're together. You see 1, 2, 3 blue posts. That's the guide to help it stay in place. Okay, so now that I have that, I need the screws to put them in place. Let me go get them. But before I put the screws in, I just remembered this guy here was not fun taking out. So I'm actually gonna thread that in first. So I'm gonna take this out a little bit. All these cables, whether it's for the Wi-Fi or if it's a ribbon cable, they're very sensitive. So I wanna take my time, use the right tools, and make sure that I'm not doing anything to damage them. Because if I turn them the wrong way, or if I use the wrong amount of pressure, it can rip. And to replace one of those, you'll either not be able to replace it, or you'll have to replace more than what you like. In best case scenario, you're just delayed in getting it done. Worst case scenario, you have to replace an entire component. Whew, a lot easier. Now we can marry both of these parts together again. Sometimes that happens. You gotta take off a component to put something else on before you can put that component back on. And that's exactly what I did here. By taking off the fan, I was able to put this cable back in. And then this guy goes right there. Perfect fit. This guy goes right here. This guy that we took out last time. And that's what gives us Wi-Fi, or gives the computer Wi-Fi. Time to put these screws in. Always verify where you're putting in those screws, because you can put it in the wrong location if you don't remember. And I also like to cross-reference the case and see where the case screws goes. So it goes, the middle ones are unnecessary. We put in the problem child first, so this is the one that initially broke off. Got that in there. Next is the pair. That way that they're even on there. These hinges are load bearing, so you want to make sure that it's even on all sides so there's no uneven pressure. So now the two halves have been completed. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. And Wi-Fi antennas are actually one of those components that just stop working after a while and you're gonna have to replace. It pops in with this guy that also holds in, yeah, that also holds in those two. And you can see right on it, there's a white and a black. White, black. So we put that accordingly. I'd really like to do this while it's laid flat. So let's test out this hinge. If it worked. Please don't snap. Please don't snap. Please don't snap. Please don't snap. And it closed without snapping. Perfect. Look at that. Whew. So now we have a screen on here. All right, now back to the delicate work we have on hand here. The hinges, again, are metal on plastic, so I never trust it out of the box. And these Wi-Fi antennas, they always break, so I'm used to replacing them. Yep, not going anywhere. And now we focus our attention to up top. This is what connects the LCD to the motherboard and gives you an image. That was one of the other things that could potentially not fit because, again, all these parts were cross-referenced. And one of the things that I did before I ordered it is I counted the pin on both of them to make sure that they matched. Now we have this in place. With the cables now in the right place, I can put the fan back in and screw it back in. So now we're ready for the battery. With all the components of the motherboard back in its place, I can easily put the battery back, and that's what's going to power everything up. Battery is now in place. All that's missing is just one more screw, and the full assembly has now been complete. Voila, we are finally ready for a test. Actually, before I do that, need to put in the battery. I'm gonna just leave it over like that just so it's not bare bones. Open it up. Power on. Oh, I don't think it has power. 1 second. All right, for the moment of truth, I had to plug it in. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we're back online, baby. 100%. Boom. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. You can close this out. And that's basically it. there you go. There you have it. We got the whole thing cleaned up, everything transferred over from what was supposed to be just a simple screen repair or a display assembly repair that you saw, that we married the bottom half with the top half. That was supposed to be the only thing. This extra stuff came from the additional damage that we found while we were getting into the repair. So this is why when I specifically tell people, hey, I need the computer to give you a proper diagnosis, I can give you a range of what it could be potentially, but until I have it in my hand, until I take it apart, I can't literally tell you until I am 100% certain of what the solution is going to be. And as y'all can see, this is why. So we got the full bottom half completely done. We got the top half completely done. We married them together, and now this, what was supposed to be just a repair, turned into a disaster recovery, and we were able to successfully recover it. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so I know that y'all want this content to keep coming. And if you need help with your own repairs, if you have broken devices, send it over. Maybe your repair gets featured on the next video. Thank you so much. See you next time. That's the spot. I still got my morning voice. Hello, hello. Good morning. I'm a joker. Okay. Starting to get cold. I don't like that. Okay.